Oh, well. And now I know why. Because of you.
Call to order the regular Township Committee meeting of July 28th, 2014. Provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law, please.
Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law, adequate public notice of this meeting has been given. By publication in the required newspapers of the date, time, and location of this meeting more than 48 hours in advance. By posting advance written notice on the official bulletin board in the municipal building. By filing advance written notice with Township Clerk for the purpose of public inspection.
Roll call of officials present, please.
Committeewoman Taylor? Here. Committeeman Billy?
Here.
Committeeman Morano?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lucella?
Here.
Mayor McCabe?
Here. Invocation by Reverend Eric C. Hall, pastor of the Barnegat and New United Methodist Church, please.
Thank you.
Hello, Reverend.
Good evening. Let's join in the invocation. God, we're thankful for the many blessings that we enjoy here in the town of Barnegat. We thank you for the many hands and the many hearts that serve, and we look forward to continued blessing and grace as we seek to be the best community that we can be. Amen.
Amen.
Now, if you please rise to salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Resolution 2014-332.
Resolution authorizing the Township Committee to retire into closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel, public safety, contractual and litigation matters.
None needed this evening, Mayor.
Very good. Motion to table resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeewoman Taylor?
Yes.
Committeeman Billy?
Yes.
Committeeman Morano?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Lucella?
Yes.
Mayor McCabe?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to reports. We'll talk about Green Acres. After a few years of inactivity, the state has once again funded the Green Acres program. The State Green Acres program provides financial assistance to local governments to fund certain activities like the acquisition of land or recreation improvement projects. For Barnegat, on the agenda this evening is a public hearing and a resolution pertaining to the application the town will submit to the state for the current round of Green Acres funding. Barnegat's application consists of improvements to the Little League and soccer complex located on Barnegat Boulevard North. Items in the Green Acres application for Barnegat include lighting, paving, and enhanced restroom and food concession facilities for the complex. This recreation area is used by thousands of children each year, and it is important that improvements be made to the facility, and when a viable funding opportunity arises, we as a community must take advantage of that program. Overall, I am a strong advocate for the improvement and expansion of recreational opportunities for Barnegat residents, fully realizing that there is a significant cost associated with these long overdue enhancements. Any viable financial assistance program that could offer the township relief from these considerable costs should be aggressively pursued. I urge all this evening to support this application to the State Green Acres program for improvement work at the Barnegat Little League and Soccer Complex. Now on to the big topic of the day, the municipal budget. Tonight on the agenda is the final adoption of the town's 2014 municipal budget. This budget reflects funding for the operation of the town along with the water and sewer utility. While details of the budget have been discussed previously, a couple items I want to point out specifically. At the April 2014 Township Committee meeting, a commitment was made that despite the harsh winter, the township would produce a budget that would minimize any tax increase. While the cost of winter operations greatly exceeded $300,000 this year, the township was able to prepare a budget that increased taxes only by 1.57 cents, or by $39 on an average assessed home valued at $250,000. A major reason why Barnegat has been successful with stabilizing taxes and minimizing tax increases over the past several years is because of shared services. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Barnegat has been a leader in the state when it comes to developing meaningful shared service agreements that benefit Barnegat taxpayers. It is estimated as a result of the existing shared services agreements, Barnegat realizes a financial savings in the neighborhood of roughly $750,000, which equates to a savings of over 3 cents on the tax rate. Barnegat Township has shared service agreements from exit 98 to exit 25 on the Parkway, which reflects 75 miles of far-reaching and beneficial shared services agreements. Also, hopefully, we will have some exciting news in the future regarding the execution of some additional shared services agreements that will benefit Barnegat from both an operational and financial perspective. We are working on it. While we would all prefer a budget with no tax increase, certainly was an advocate for that, reality does come crashing in on the budget process, resulting in a budget that is responsible and fair considering the extraordinary expenses associated with this past winter. There is a price tag having a comprehensive snow and ice operation that keeps travel conditions in Barnegat safe, even under the most severe winter weather conditions. I am pleased with the budget as it fairly represents and reflects the costs of operations for a growing community. We are fortunate here in Barnegat to have a dedicated workforce committed to the well-being of the community. Having talented and skilled municipal employees enhances the ability of the town to remain clean, safe, and affordable. In particular, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of Kathy Jasinski, our Chief Financial Officer, in preparing this budget. Kathy, thank you so very much. I know it was eye-crossing. I crossed my eyes several times. Much work goes into crafting a document that must strike a delicate balance between the financial needs of the town and the fiscal demands being placed on our taxpayers. Once again, year after year, Kathy has done an outstanding job of striking that balance, and I thank her for all of her hard work. Thank you. All right, who's next? Lenny, you want to go next?
Sure, thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's concerned. I'm fine and ready to go, and I'll be out on the campaign trail. So thank you all for your efforts and hard work. Especially, I got a card from the Republican Club thanking me. How can you go wrong? But I'd like to say our concerts are going great. We're getting a lot of people, great times, great bands, and we're now extended Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're filling the house and we're having a lot of fun. Rec department is selling potato chips and snacks and making money so we can add it to the concerts. So things are working. Other than that, I'd just like to say thank you again, and I'll be here.
Thank you so much, Lenny. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Elaine, would you like to go next?
Sure. I actually really don't have comments. I'd like to save them for when I go through the budget. The only thing I do want to say is that if anyone doesn't know, our TV station is up and running. It's channel 22. The times of the meetings that are broadcast are 10 and 7, and they will be rebroadcast every day. So we have that going. And the only other thing I want to say is Lenny has finally found out that people do come to more than oldies concerts, because we had a great crowd for the B Street Band and the Mega Man. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll come back around this way, Al.
Thank you, Mayor. A municipal budget, I'd like just to say that this evening the town will adopt its budget for 2014, and despite the harsh winter, the township was successful in keeping its tax rate under last year's increase of 2 cents. For 2014, proposed tax rate for the town is 1.57 cents, or about $39 on average assessed house in town, which equates to roughly 75 cents per week on the average house. Besides effective management and overall oversight, municipal operations are key when they are able to stabilize taxes because, again, of shared services. For 2014, over $7,500 of taxpayer dollars were saved as a result of shared services. The town has many meaningful service agreements and will continue to explore and institute additional far-reaching agreements that benefit Barnegat taxpayers in the very near future. Local government touches upon the daily lives of every resident, whether it's trash, recycle, street cleaning, emergencies, snow plowing. It is the town that provides all of these services to the community. Barnegat Township government never sleeps, works diligently to maintain a clean, safe, and affordable community. Considering the significant cost of this past winter, I am pleased that we're able to produce a budget that is responsible and adequate funds to continue our operation, minimizing the financial impact on the taxpayers. I also would like to recognize Kathy Jasinski, our Chief Financial Officer. Thank you, Kathy, for a job well done on the 2014 budget. Thank you, Kathy. Finally, I would like to mention that at the public hearing for the budget, remarks were made regarding the township's emergency management program. It must be noted that while Barnegat has successfully driving down the cost it has been equally successful in greatly enhancing the effectiveness of the program. Barnegat's emergency management team has been tested many times and has clearly provided their ability to manage crisis situations. The nominal cost of this program is well worth the investment that I would like the public to command, and sincerely thank the diligent work of our emergency managers. There is no question that they keep Barnegat safe even due to extreme conditions. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor LaSala, would you like to conclude?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start with our zoning ordinance. On the agenda this evening for second reading and final adoption is an ordinance that will permit the mixed use of Barnegat Crossing track that's located at the Garden State Parkway exit. As previously discussed, in order to make the commercial development viable with financial lending institutions, there must be a residential component. All developers who have recently approached the township with proposals for commercial development have incorporated a residential element into their plans. Under the current economic conditions, in order to attract commercial opportunities, there must be a willingness to permit the mixed use of commercial sites. In the case of Barnegat Crossings, there will be approximately 95,000 square feet of commercial space, along with roughly 150 rental units above the stores. These units will be age-restricted, but market-rate apartments. With the approval of this ordinance this evening, the developer of the Barnegat Crossing site will be able to appear before the planning board with his amended plan. And I am hopeful that a groundbreaking at this location will occur by this fall. By permitting mixed use, this hopefully will be the catalyst to allow the largest commercial project in Barnegat to move forward. Addressing the municipal budget tonight, the township will be adopting the municipal budget as said previously. The budget being adopted this evening is a responsible plan that minimizes the financial impact of the hardworking Barnegat taxpayers. I won't go over the rate and the dollars, that's been addressed already. What is even more impressive is that since the reassessment in 2011, the average annual tax increase for our town operations have been less than a penny a year, or roughly $22 per year per house that's assessed at $250,000. Since 2011, and including this year, the overall tax rate increase for the town has only been 3.6 cents. I challenge anyone to find a town with our population in Ocean County to match that. While I am always hesitate to support a budget that proposes a tax increase, in this particular case, I support this budget as it represents a responsible financial plan to properly fund town operations. I would like to acknowledge the efforts of our CFO, Kathy Janeski, with preparing this budget. I know how much hard work Kathy put into it, and she must be commended for her efforts. Finally, to dovetail the mayor's comments and Al on shared service savings, this was accomplished by Mr. Dave Breeden, our business administrator. Because my feelings, if you don't share a business administrator, these projects don't work. So Dave has put in countless hours on this shared service agreements that we do have, and put all egos aside and went forward and helped us get what we have today as far as shared services. For that, Dave, you don't get enough thanks. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Administrator's report?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no reports this evening, so we can get straight to the agenda, which will include a summary of the 2014 municipal budget. On page 2 of the agenda, ordinance 2014-15, second reading, public hearing, and final adoption, deals with an amendment to the existing zoning ordinance. As Deputy Mayor LaSala indicated, this ordinance or amendment will permit the construction of roughly 150 residential units in conjunction with commercial development at Barnegat Crossings. All commercial developers that have been approaching the township within the past 12 months have indicated or stated that they need a mixed use with respect to developing commercial property in order to secure financing from lending institutions they require a mixed use. So again, this ordinance will allow or permit residential units on top of the stores, roughly 95,000 square feet in commercial property, and 150 age-restricted market rate rental units. Still on page 2, ordinance 2014-17, second reading, public hearing, and final adoption is an ordinance that permits the town to exceed the cap bank or to establish a cap bank. We pass this ordinance every year, allows the township to go up to 3.5% of appropriations when compared to last year. As a result, the township will be banking roughly $551,000 for future years. Even if we don't pass this ordinance tonight, it does not impact the budget, nor the tax rate increase of 1.57 cents. This allows us to bank certain appropriations or expenditures for future years in case there is a need. Still on page 2, at the bottom of page 2, ordinance 2014-19, second reading, public hearing, and final adoption, along with page 3, resolution 2014-334. These ordinances and resolutions are required for the town to refund an existing bond ordinance from 2015. In essence, what we are doing are refinancing a bond, permanent financing, or bond ordinance from 2005. As a result of refinancing or refunding, the township will save roughly $140,000 on its debt service between now and the end of the useful life of these bonds, which is in 2020. On page 3 of the agenda, first reading, ordinance 2014-20, ordinance prohibiting consumption of alcoholic beverages by underage persons on private property. Barnegat Township Police Department has strongly encouraged us to adopt and pass this ordinance, provide them with additional mechanism in order to deal with situations in which underage people are drinking on private property. Now, keep in mind, as with any law, the police exercise discretion when applying the law. So if you're in your house having a glass of champagne to mark high school graduation, I do believe the police will not bother you. But if you're hanging out your second story window with a keg in your hand, therefore the police will respond accordingly. This is to address chronic, acute situations in which the police constantly go back to deal with certain situations. So on page 3, ordinance 2014-21, first reading, is an ordinance amending the flood damage prevention ordinance. This is a continuation of or updating the flood ordinance consistent with FEMA regulations. As you recall, after Hurricane or Superstorm Sandy, the township adopted several ordinances in order to be current and up to date with respect to flood regulations and to maintain our CRS community ratings system rating of a 7, which affords residents who live in Barnegat that have flood insurance a 15% discount on their premium on flood insurance, which will be growing year after year. Page.
Excuse me, there'll be a period of time for public comment in just a few minutes.
I'm sorry. That would be page 7 of the agenda. Resolution 2014-355. Resolution authorizing the township clerk to advertise for bids to repair, to correct the basin number 2 at Horizons. We were hopeful to do this with a shared service agreement with the county as a result of Superstorm Sandy. In addition to the scope of work, we thought it would be in the best interest to bid this out. Relatively straightforward bid. It is our hope to secure bids within the next couple of weeks, to award in August, and have the work done in September, October. Page 8 of the agenda, resolution 2014-364 is a resolution authorizing a contract to Johnson Barron Corporation for paving of 7th Street and Settlers Landing East for the amount of $369,315. $250,000 worth of this work will be covered by a DOT grant. Historically, these types of projects are covered by grant funding from the DOT from roughly 2/3 to 3/4 of the total cost of the project. The 7th Street's being paved, Anchor Road, Village, Commodore, Spar, Tiller, Pacific, and Holt. Finally, Resolution 2014-365, resolution authorizing the township to submit a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for Green Acres Grant Program. As the mayor indicated in her report, this application will be to improve and enhance the facilities down at Barnegat Little League and Soccer Field Complex, including lighting, paving, drainage, restroom, and food facilities. Township was reviewed this, and we had to make some tough calls with regards to the improvements being made. With any grant program, number one, you have to establish whether or not you will be competitive for the program, and number two, if you make a decision that you are competitive for the program, that if it is a valid or viable program, then you have to prepare an application that reflects the best interest of the township. In other words, we do not ask for anything. You be reserved and conservative in your approach to preparing the application. So when you do submit it, you are in a very competitive position and you'll be able to compete with other applications submitted. So again, some hard decisions had to be made with respect to what improvements would be made at the facility or complex. But we feel, based on the number that we have, $950,000, that will reflect a very competitive proposal at the state level. Going back quickly to the budget. Page 3 and page 4 of the agenda deal with the budget. The township had to make some technical changes to the budget in accordance with direction given by the state. Those changes do not impact or change the tax rate. The tax rate for the budget for 2014 will increase by 1.5 cents, or roughly $39 per average assessed home in Barnegat of $250,000. Let me go over some details surrounding the budget. The introduced budget as amended tonight will be $22,846,373. When compared to last year's budget, it reflects an increase of roughly $252,000 or 1.1%. Keep in mind that snow operations this year amounted to over $300,000. We had 15 separate events that we had to respond to during the winter season. As indicated in previous statements, that represents a tax increase of 1.57 cents, $39 per average assessed house of $250. Since the revaluation in 2011, the tax rate for town operations in Barnegat has gone up by 3.6 cents, less than a penny a year, less than $22 per house per year. Keep in mind, during this time, we had Hurricane Irene, Superstorm Sandy, in the winter of 2013 and 2014. Shared services play a big part in our budget. We save over $750,000 per year as a result of shared services. With respect to some major accounts in the budget, each year, Barnegat Township has to set aside money as a result of taxpayers who do not pay their taxes. For 2014, the township has to set aside $1,135,221. And the only reason why we have to set aside over $1.1 million is to make sure we have sufficient money to pay the school and township, school and county, as a result of people who do not pay their taxes. Barnegat sets aside more money in the reserve for uncollected taxes than we pay in salaries and wages for our public works department. State aid, we peaked with state aid in 2005 at $1.5 million. We are currently at $1,048,000 in state aid, a loss of roughly $450,000. Pension cost, when I first got to Barnegat in 2006, our pension cost was $173,000. This year, pension will be $1.4 million, an increase of over 800%. Our debt management, we continue to drive down our overall debt, both in township operations and water and sewer. We are borrowing 12% of our borrowing capability. So in other words, if the township had a credit card and our credit limit was $100, we would have used $12. And despite the economic downturn, massive tax appeal loss, decrease in state aid, increase in pension, and adverse weather events like Irene, Sandy, and Winter, the township has been able to maintain their bond rating of A1, which was just reaffirmed a couple of weeks ago. Third time was reaffirmed since the downturn in the economy of 2009. This just proves and demonstrates that indeed the township is using sound business practices, sound financial techniques with respect to management of the operation. New Jersey, state of New Jersey led the state in downgrades for municipal bonds from 2009 to 2014. Tax rates for 2014, the county will be 0.413, which represents roughly 17% of the total tax bill. The school will be 1.310, which reflects roughly 53% of the total tax bill, and town operations 0.763, which is 30% of the tax bill. Again, the amendment that we have tonight does not change the tax rate, does not change the tax increase of 1.57 cents. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Breeden. All right, motion to open to public comment.
So moved. Second.
And we're open to the public, if anybody has any questions. Sir?
Fred Rubenstein, 42 Circle. I want to commend you on the budget. I think that the township's end of it is fair and necessary. This town is continuing to grow, and hopefully it'll be a positive growth. There is little, if any, doubt in my mind that as that growth moves forward, we're going to need more police. I believe we're understaffed here at Town Hall. I believe we need to supplement our public works crew, and I think that this town hall no longer serves our best needs and needs to be relocated, and that has been discussed ad infinitum. Barnegat needs to live within its means. And the fact that clearly it's not living within its means and that there's such a high burden on our neighbors has nothing to do with this committee. You've done your job. I think this pie chart says it all. The school district, which I once served as president of the Board of Ed, is out of control. It is out of control. And whether you negotiate, legislate, or litigate, it behooves this committee to take a more assertive position and underscore that their financial irresponsibility has a devastating effect on the people that have to pay the bill. The people who, through choice or necessity, have to sell a home and they negotiate a fair price only to pull out the tax bill and see what it costs. For 3,100 students, to have a budget that is more than double the entire tax budget for this entire municipality, this had to come from the planet Mars. Because I don't know what's going on over there.
That's right.
But I do know from personal hands-on experience in the process how good superintendents are at camouflaging expenses. And if anybody wants to tell me that it takes $49 million to educate 3,100 students, then see me after the hour for a share on the Brooklyn Bridge, because I'm not buying it. A couple of more things. Recreation. I'm not going to get into the ordinance. I know you have an ordinance for the loan. We have also been a town of broken promises. Again, nobody on this committee is at fault. Does the Watts Recreation Center or complex ring a bell? We had county freeholders stand here in this room and tell us what was coming. Well, the only thing that's changed is the date. There's no Watts Recreational Complex. And tonight you are going to discuss a matter which is in the best interest of public service. I do not dispute that. But I underscore to each of you, entrusted by your constituents to represent them, that we must live within our means. David, you have done a magnificent job. Whenever I have sent you something, you have kindly responded, and it's appreciated. The quality of life in this town is being addressed assertively by this committee with the proposed ordinance about underage drinking on private property. We have a drug problem in this town. Anybody who denies it must be wearing blinders. We're tying up our police. We have other issues in this town we need to address. I've talked to several of you individually. I'd like to see us get the chain gang from the county prisons in here to police our roadways. I'd like to see a more assertive stance, although I thank the township, the municipal clerk, for posting on the website. And I want to thank Mr. Lasella and Ms. Taylor for getting involved to bridle this curb toss distribution of publications purporting to be newspapers. And I think that maybe you need to take another look at that. Because although I understand the First Amendment right, I'm puzzled by the fact that it extends to private property. I've gotten conflicting legal opinions, but that's not a debate I want to get into now. I've sent you photographs ad nauseum to illustrate what this town looks like when people are away on vacation, homes are abandoned, and you have newspapers that have turned yellow due to our four-legged friends, and nobody's picking them up. And that should not be the burden of our Public Works Department. They have enough to do. There was one last thing that I wanted to talk to all of you, very seriously about. Your job is not an easy one. And all of us that don't have the burden of production, it's easy to throw stones. Once an election is over, it's over. And whoever has the majority sits up there and does the best they can. Again, your budget is a responsible budget. If I can get one thing out of this committee tonight, I would like to see you actively, vociferously, speak out and let everybody know. Let's stop this. It's for the kids' business with the school budget. For heaven's sake, part of it for the kids is that mommy and daddy has enough to put food on the table. And with this type of budget, the ability to do that is being severely handicapped. I heard the buzzer, and I thank you for your consideration above and beyond the call. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Rose?
Rose Jackson, 12 Barnegat Place. I have one basic question, and I haven't been around for a while, so I don't know if you're doing a good job or a bad job, but you all look good. Let me say that.
Welcome back.
But anyway, people have been talking to me about one issue, and I know you've addressed this issue, and I'm not sure you can do anything about it. It's about a grocery store. And my question about the grocery store situation is where Gennardi's used to be in this little plaza next door. My understanding, and please, this is what I'm trying to get is some information I've been trying to explain to people. My understanding is that Safeway is still paying the rent on that facility. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how long is Safeway going to continue to do that?
What are they down?
Like
5
6
years?
years?
6?
I do believe the lease is another 6 years or so.
6 years. So what I'm hearing then, if Safeway is going to pay the rent, there's no motivation for the people that own the shopping center to find another person to move in there. Is that correct assumption?
I have to disagree with that a little bit. Marty, you want to address this? I know you're...
Okay, here's what's going on. Obviously, the tenants that are left there are very unhappy, which makes, of course, the owner of the complex very unhappy because the other tenants that are left there. No?
Not as good as it has been.
Let's put it close to you.
It's not? Did you hear me?
I don't know if mine is on. Is mine on?
I can hear you.
I talk loud.
Okay.
Let's talk
That's
about
my teacher, my ex-teacher,
Yeah.
one of
I
my
think it's on. However, the situation there is, the owner of the complex, hands are tied as long as that lease is in place. From our understanding, Safeway has hired a company to try to find a replacement, a food replacement in there to take over their lease. I also understand that the owner of the complex hired another commercial company to find someone. Because in 3 years, the note is due on that complex. And
For the owner of the
for the owner of the complex. And with only 3 years left on the lease at that time, they're very concerned about not getting financing for it. So they have motivation to get someone in there, as well as Safeway has motivation. But it's up to the grocery stores that they go after to make that decision. Just to clarify.
Why did Safeway, I never did quite understand. Living in California part-time, Safeway is an extremely big grocery store chain. And much like, I would compare it to ShopRite, much like a ShopRite chain. I don't understand why they left what was their motivation to leave here?
They left New Jersey.
Yeah.
Are they just the
It
whole?
wasn't just this one.
Just the whole.
Yeah.
I know Safeway has now been bought out. They were sold to another company, because I know we have been addressing this in California. But I don't understand who's watching the store, so to speak. Who's working with the owner of the shopping center, and I won't mention any names, and who's working with Safeway? I mean, a large corporation like Safeway has really, to me, no motivation to find another person. You know, spending the rent for large corporations like that is a nothing.
Right.
Come on, we know that. I mean, it's kind of like the house in my development that has been, the people abandoned it, so to speak, and the bank hasn't listed it. I mean, come on, who cares? They got they have a lot of money. So I don't see any motivation here, either for the builder or Safeway, unless you guys can convince me. How long has the Gennardi's been out of there now? 3 years?
Year and a half.
Only a year and a half?
It was.
I'll tell you, if people,
2012.
and
2012.
putting a grocery store down here on Route 9 ain't gonna cut it, guys. It just doesn't cut it, I'm sorry. I know it's a nice thing, I don't think it's a bad thing, but people are always talking to me, Rose, before you move out of Barnegat, if there's one thing you can do, get this grocery store situation. That's why I'm coming to you and pleading with you.
Rose, I'm sorry.
Yes.
We forgot this at the timer, but we're definitely at the dancing around the 5-minute mark. Can I just answer some of your questions?
Sure.
I don't think there is a committee member sitting at this dais who hasn't begged, borrowed, pleaded, verbally threatened, physically assaulted commercial developers to give us supermarkets. And the owner of this complex where Gennardi's used to sit is at the top of the list. Every single individual here can point to letters and efforts and conversations and meetings that we've all had. Supermarket chains as a whole are struggling. It's a difficult thing right now. We are trying our best. I can't guarantee that Route 9 is a reality or not a reality at this point. And I understand what you're saying. Route 9 is out there. So even if it does happen, it's Barnegat proper,
If I'm gonna get in
but
my
it's
car
not.
to go there, I'm going to the shopping.
Correct.
To be honest.
Either way, you're on.
Yeah,
I
I'm
understand.
not gonna go to that.
We're trying our best. We just
I
simply can't. We
understand
can't
that.
force.
I'm just
We
telling
can't
you
force them
this,
to come here.
is if you want to address an issue that is, the residents of this town are really, really concerned about. Probably that is the biggest issue on the table.
Understood.
And I
Rose. We are
know my
addressing it.
time's up, but I did want to mention one more thing. And it
Super
has
quick.
to do with the budget. I'm gonna be very quick.
Very quick, because people say I can get 5 minutes.
53% of the budget's going to schools. That's very low compared to most areas. Usually it's around 60%. And if you want a quality school system, I lived in a town that had 99% of their children either went on to college or schools, and they didn't cut the school budget. I'm only mentioning that because of the thing. Usually the town tax is lower than 30%. That's the end. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
Russ.
for your time.
Frank, is your hand up? Oh, come on up. Come on up. Sorry. You're next. Rose finished?
Frank Petsy, I live in Hemlock.
Yeah, that's not on. Just speak loudly.
Okay, if I,
Oh,
there you go. It's
was on.
difficult in the time we're allotted to go through a budget, and what I look at, and I got page after page, I can't understand some of the things in the budget, like an increase for legal, $70,000. How do you anticipate that? I can't figure out how you anticipate. It is certainly not in a contract. It's certainly, we knew what they bid hourly, that they were gonna charge. And now all of a sudden you're putting $70,000 additional in the budget. General appropriations, you had that up. Oh, the other was the planning and zoning. I'm on it. The $93,000 for what? What do we need $93,000 for? I'm not sure. We finished the master plan, which cost us $1 million, and now we're changing some of it. And I don't have a problem, what I have a problem is that we spent that money and we're doing some changes in the zoning. Jumping around a little bit, the people just mentioned something about the public schools, and this township is committed to get more people. You get more people, you're gonna get more kids, and as more kids, you're gonna be sending them to school. 2 years ago, I did the budget. One of the things that people forget about is that $94 million that we took from the state. Of course, Mr. McMahon said it was free money. It wasn't free money. Now we're paying it back. The last budget I did for the school board was 2 years ago, and I warned them. They didn't even know. You got $1,300,000 that you have to pay this coming year. That was the year before. Each one of them for 14 years, they're up to them. So over $1 million, it doesn't go to the kids. It's to pay off for those schools that were built and rebuilt. So a pie graph kind of shows something and it makes it alarming, but it really is not once you look at what it cost originally to put up that school. And the people in the town voted for that. So I didn't vote for it. I'd have to say I did not vote for it. Mr. McMahon and I did not see eye to eye on many items, and that was one of them.
I understand that.
The code construction officials. It's a lot of money, $935,000, so I might have the wrong page on that one. But when I look at that, yeah.
Sure about that, Frank?
It's tough, no, I'm not sure, that's what I just said. It's a heck of a lot of money. While you look for the page, another is the landfill. I'm trying to figure out with the garbage, why all of a sudden that's going up.
More people.
Well, more people. I don't know when does that contract run out? It's just a continuous contract?
You're confusing it too. We have a contract for collection, and then
Yeah, but you
there's
have all salary and wages. You set salary and wages for who in that same line item? We don't have anybody that's doing that. I wish I had more time to go through this, and I don't want to belabor it, but I think I know you guys kind of really try to work hard and get this thing where it's reasonable, but there are other things in here that I think you would take a little more time and ask what other is, and some of the others are $175,000. I don't want to spend money finding out what others are. Last year I had to pay money to find out what the others were. And emergency response. Somebody just echoed something, I guess it was from the last meeting and this meeting, and to explain it. Emergency response we've always had. And many years ago when that gentleman retired, I said this a number of times to this body and to David, I was told, it's on tape, that we would not spend any more money on it, and 2 police officers would do it, it wouldn't cost us anything. Well, I did the 2 emergency response. Please check. One for Passaic County, okay? And one for the Passaic County Utility Authority. Once you establish it, it's there. And in fact, you get your printout on the website, it's there. So there's no big deal with that. The big deal is to make sure that the phone numbers are up to date, that you have to call. There is no big,
Right. To say emergency management's not a big deal in this town
No,
after the
it's not. What, you had Sandy? When was the last time you had anything like that?
We had
Okay,
Sandy.
every week? No.
Right,
it's
emergency
not every
management
week.
is a huge deal in this town,
David, you
and
don't
to say
need-
otherwise
you
is
don't need
a
all those
disservice
guys
to
doing
those
it. You don't need to
individuals.
spend all that money for them to do it.
How much
It's
money was
done.
spent?
It's done. Does your Department of Public Works have emergency response? They should have it. Does your water department? We went through this.
They all have
should
it.
have it. Then what's the big deal?
And it's all
And
coordinated
then
for
what it
the,
says in here, if the nuclear plant goes up, call them. And you know how bright they are? I was on that committee. They said,
Frank,
do
you're doing
not-
a disservice, thank
If
you.
you have a vote like Mr. Taylor has, if you have a vote, we are going to stop all voters from leaving the Coast Guard and the state police. Isn't that is wonderful. That's their emergency response.
Frank, the buzzer has
Okay.
gone off several seconds ago.
Thank you.
I'll pay
Our
for it
emergency
later.
response was,
Sir,
the National
sir,
Guard
if
came
you-
through
sir,
and splashed
sir.
away.
Sir, you need to speak at the microphone.
Excuse me, sir, if you can't hold your tongue, you'll have to leave. Would you like to come up to the podium and have your time?
Yes, I actually.
Then come on up. Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Very short.
Name and
Brian
address for the
Pedroli.
record.
472 East Ave.
Thank you.
In response to his last thing with the emergency response, the last time we had emergency response after Sandy, all we had was National Guard trucks come through our street, splash waves, and make 1 to 2 foot waves inside the house. My second thing is I don't understand, I have not done anything to my house, I'm still rebuilding it, and you've raised my taxes by $250. Don't understand. Can you explain it to me? Please
I
do.
don't think we can do it again.
And I'm finished.
What, do we have his address? Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. No, Frank, you've had your time. We gotta go to others. We gotta go to others. Have your time. Jake, come on up.
Thank you.
I guess it's-
Jake Taylor, 106 Newark. I'm not gonna say too much on the budget, I did that last week, but I did have, Frank must be reading my mail. I did have a, how could you predict a $70,000 increase in legal funds? It just benides me how you could do it. You know, you expect us to, we're gonna have a lot of legal problems next year?
Want me to address that? I can address it right now.
Not in my 5 minutes, after I sit down. I'd like to hear that.
You'll hear it, believe me.
I hope so. I know we lost a couple lawsuits to people you laid off, I know that.
No, well, stop right there. No, we did not. Name one.
The girl out in,
Nope,
well,
nope.
that's the way
Wrong.
I hear it.
Jake, wrong.
Wrong?
Misinformed, misleading, you choose, but you are dead wrong.
I don't think so. Anyhow, on the budget, you can like color it, make diagrams, or point the finger at the school, whatever. I know my taxes, my predicted taxes for this quarter went up 200. So I thought maybe it was an error, so I went around and asked. The people I talked to, their predicted taxes for this final quarter has went up $200, roughly 200 in my area that I talked to. So, you know, that is like a big bite. You know, I listened to all your excuses, and some of them are valid. You know, I know we had a lot of snow and different things. But for the people, I'm lucky, I still work. That's a big increase for the normal guy that's living here. We have a lot of people on fixed, many people on fixed budgets and stuff. A $200 increase, that's what it amounts to. On our tax rate for this last quarter is much too high. Where you can find the money, I can't help you. But, you know, it's a very large increase. You could say 1 point here, a penny here, and I didn't do good last year, but still a $200 increase for a normal family living here. It's too high. I also have, on the day 1, 337 on the tax sale, was all them houses went up for tax sale in the Barnegat?
Yes.
I noticed that's how I read it. Is that correct?
That's correct, in redeeming the liens.
Every one of them houses went up for tax sale?
That's correct.
Well, that's quite a bit. Very, I didn't know that, I didn't know there was that many around. Anyhow, the other one is, we had, you have on the budget, a $50,000 prediction on affordable housing taxes. Is that just, I know you can't control the taxes on affordable housing,
Thank you.
but how do you reach that figure briefly?
Based upon previous estimates from prior years and based upon the state formula that we have to follow, which takes into consideration the amount of revenue generated by the rent, less certain expenses and a certain percentage of vacancy.
Yeah, we have 150 affordable, roughly 150 that I know of,
About 140,
apartments.
yes.
And $50,000, that doesn't pay for 3 kids in school.
Jake, again, as I told you 100 times, if you have an issue with that,
Call
go,
the state.
thank you.
I see they're gonna build some in Waretown, so maybe they'll be here the next week. But anyhow, I also would like to, I know you have one there about the air guns out in, a resolution to support to stop the air gun treatment out in the ocean. I oppose that. I think we should be searching out there. I spoke to a friend of mine in Florida just today. They're doing it down there, and they have no damage, so to speak. I think the only complaint that they had down there after they did it was it bothered the whales. Well, I don't think this country should be, you know, if we're able to support ourselves on oil and stuff, I don't want to see it. There's enough rich Arabs running around that we should be allowed, we should not go, I'm against use of passing that resolution to object to that. I myself think they should go ahead with it, and there's a lot of people I talk to think they should. So maybe you should postpone that or floor that resolution so I can gather some people to come to the next meeting. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Taylor. With respect to your question, Mr. Pesci's questions regarding legal fees, back in 2013, the township initially budgeted $200,000 for legal fees. In November of 2013, the township transferred $40,000 into the legal account, making a total appropriation for 2013 of $240,000 for 2013. For 2014, the township increased the legal account from $240,000 to $270,000, which reflects a $30,000 increase. That $30,000 will be used to pay the attorney the township used to secure over $300,000 in reimbursement from our insurance company. So though I'm not the smartest person in the world, I'll take that deal every day, paying somebody $30,000 to get us $300,000. So again, it is not a $70,000 increase, it is a $30,000 increase, and that increase reflects payment to the attorney who helped secure over $300,000 for the township with regards to insurance reimbursement from Superstorm Sandy. Regarding the tax bill, nobody on this panel has pointed fingers anywhere. We are simply stating a fact that the township collects taxes for three entities: ourselves, the school, and the county. So when individuals say they have a $200 tax increase, that tax increase is not coming solely from the township, but is coming from the three entities that the township collects taxes for. Thank you.
Mary Ann?
Mary Ann Clementi, 565 East Bay. I have a couple of questions. What regular meeting is this? I thought that meetings are the first Monday of the month, that we're down to one meeting a month. This is a special meeting that was called? Nothing is on Nixle?
On January 1st, 2014, the township adopted a meeting schedule which indicated the meetings for the first 6 months will be the first Monday of the month. For the second 6 months, the meeting will be the third Monday. We are meeting tonight in order to adopt the budget. We needed time to work with the state, to work through the technical issues that were presented to us. We're in a position to adopt the budget tonight. That's why we are meeting. In addition, a Nixle was sent out a couple weeks ago indicating the meeting schedule for July.
For the
Yes.
the budget?
Yes.
A Nixle message went out?
Yep.
I'll go and check, because I didn't see it. And when was the hearing on the budget?
That was 2 weeks ago. It was indicated in that Nixle. Several members of the audience were there that night.
You send a Nixle out months ahead of time?
Months ahead
or
of
even,
time?
or
It's
even a month
inaccurate.
ahead of time. We used to get them the week of.
We sent a Nixle out that day indicating the July schedule, that we would have the workshop, public hearing, and the meeting tonight. Again, certain members of the public that are here tonight attended that public hearing.
And I don't get the paper, so I don't know when the meetings are. I have Nixle, and I remember getting Nixle notifications. You were also going to put it on the board outside.
Do you have a calendar from the township?
Yes, I do.
It's on there, on the calendar.
Also, in line with what's been talked about in terms of these budgets, this pie chart, this 53%, the school tax used to be over 60% for Barnegat, and the town tax portion used to be much less. So, talking about this being an outrage, I don't think that proportion is an outrage, especially in terms of what other towns in the state are. And also, I understand that there are some legal fees that are going to DASTY for regular kind of legal services, not is he being used in place of,
On January 1st, 2014, this township committee approved the contract with Mr. Dasty for water and sewer legal services.
yes, but is he
labor,
just doing that?
in addition to other cases that Mr. Dasty retained, despite Mr. Starkey being the township attorney.
I explain that, that doesn't,
When
it's not
Mr.
very
Stark,
clear to me.
when Mr. Starkey took over the township attorney responsibilities on January 1st, 2013, there was agreement between Mr. Starkey and Mr. Dasty that Mr. Dasty would retain some cases or files since he had significant experience with them.
Yeah, I can report out, Joe. Typically, when I come in as township attorney, I'll look at the complicated matters that are already pending and have been pending for a while. There were several here in Barnegat. And frankly, my determination is, would it cost the township more for me and my firm to get up to speed on the matter than it would for the current attorney to finish and
I
close
can
it out?
understand that, I
So
appreciate the explanation.
that's generally how I assess that. That is one part of what I think needs to continue to handle.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir, Carter?
Hi, Ray Leshka, 116 Redwood Drive. This has nothing to do with budget or anything. It's procedures that you guys put in place that just didn't go over too big. When you took over that fire department, the guy had asked you a question. Now, the people generally voted for you to do a job for them. I remember you telling him none of your business what went on in the meeting. We have sunshine laws for a reason, so that these corruptions don't take over. And
Well,
take
stop
place.
right there, Ray.
Right.
What was corrupt about it?
We're talking about an executive session.
Did they,
Yes.
The executive session is by design a private meeting between all committee members to discuss an issue of personnel and several other categories that it falls under.
Before you took that firehouse, did you issue a summons for some violation that they had done?
The township did, it's my understanding the state of New Jersey did. POSHA.
Okay, did they receive any due process, or were they denied that and you just took the property?
Us assuming the property had nothing to do with the violation that POSHA issued. They're two separate items, not connected in any
Well, I'm saying
way.
if they had paid for that, which I understand it's in their name, they had paid the mortgage on it?
I can report to you, actually, and I think this was discussed publicly here.
Well, whose
but
name is on the deed then?
There was a lawsuit filed by one representative of that the Pinewood Estates Fire Company challenging the action of the governing body, in effect saying what you're saying, that it was not appropriate, that it was not legal. Judge Grasso here in Ocean County ruled that they didn't prove their case. And soon after that, the Pinewood Estates Fire Company withdrew the lawsuit. So I hear what you're saying. It sounds like the same thing that was alleged in the lawsuit, that the action of the township committee was not appropriate, but the judges, Superior Court, did not agree, agreed with the action was appropriate.
Yeah, I heard the judge's comment. He said he wouldn't go against the township. He didn't say nothing about the right or wrong of it.
Well, no, he made a ruling on it. They came in with what's called an order to show cause to block the township committee and the township from doing what they did. Pinewood Estates Fire Company did that. And the judge would not permit that, did not stop the township, found that what the township did on that review was appropriate. It wasn't just, I'm not gonna stop the township from doing anything they want. He made a detailed finding that the action taken was appropriate.
And just one minor thing. Please tell the fire department, keep that chain up in the back of the fire department. We put up a security video system for people that are doing things like dealing drugs and stuff, so that we can monitor who's going in and out. And they're cutting through the fire department and coming in that back way. They have to keep that chain up.
We'll take a look at it, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Sir in the back?
Yes.
Sorry, Morris, I didn't see you. Next. All the way over there.
Ken Jickus, 236. I was here last month about the ordinance of garden trees, and since you don't answer the phone, or asked you don't answer the phone, I'm just wondering what's going on with that.
This is an issue with your neighbor at 234.
Well, it's not, it's an ordinance, it's written down in black and white.
This is an issue with your neighbor at 234. We have sent the township engineer down there to take a look at it.
And I guess my cameras that are in my house, just blank them out.
Why don't you let him answer the question, sir, if you just want to sit here and yell, I mean, we can let that happen too.
That's not yelling.
Are you gonna let him answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
We've sent the township engineer down there to take a look at it. He will be rendering an opinion on both the fence issue that you stated the fence was too high, in addition to the trees. Also, we're aware that you made a call regarding the neighbor renting out the property.
Yes, but there's no CO.
Okay, we'll take a look at that too. So we're
Well,
aware
right
of
now,
it.
And I tell Durante, and he says, there's no proof.
There's a process we have to go through, because eventually this could lead to the issuance of summons, and that requires the township to go to court to prove their side of the story. So in other words, prior to the township issuing any summons, we have to make sure that we're proper and correct and in accordance with the ordinance. There's a process. Sometimes that takes time, but at the end of the day, we want to be careful with respect to when we issue summonses, that we have all the information pertaining to the case, so we can present our side of the story in a court of law.
Right.
We
I
have
just
to have
don't want
proof.
anybody staying in there. I want proof of staying there.
We have to
I
have
got
proof.
kids next door, you know, so,
All right, we're working on it. Anything else, sir?
nope, that's it.
All right, thank you. Morris, come on up.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Morris Flory, 4 Blue Claw Drive. I have a copy of the statement here. I know I wasn't able to give it to the township clerk to make copies if I could pass it around, or, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. This evening, I represent the Barnegat Economic Development Committee as chairman. You should have in your package, and now you have these prepared statement and updates from previous. First, thanks for posting on Nixle and the website. The committee meeting. The EDC has invited 2 companies for the September meeting to provide presentations regarding the branding and marketing of Barnegat. Triad Corporation and Spitball. Both companies have answered our questions in a timely manner and have shown a strong presence in New Jersey. The EDC considers this as an investment in our future competitiveness and viability to bring good business to Barnegat. The investment range is anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000. The return on the investment, or ROI, from other townships has been in the hundreds of thousands into the millions of dollars. It will be critical for the township committee to act on the EDC recommendation after September. I would like to invite you all to the meeting, but I suppose that might not be possible. However, I would encourage the public to attend. As mentioned in my June update, the EDC has created a questionnaire for businesses and understanding how we can improve and make Barnegat truly easy to do business with. I have interviewed to date 8 small businesses and hope to have complete more by September. Documents have been placed on Google Drive based on the recommendation from the township for anyone to review or comment. Our strategy, the beds outline, has been approved by the EDC. We are looking forward to approval from the township committee. Reviewed letters from the committee Bealey regarding supermarkets. I had heard comments to the effect that Barnegat does not have the right demographics. Only 1 response was received of the 25 letters, not mentioning demographics. Accordingly, data that is in receipt of the EDC shows a buying power of $38 million per annum from the Bureau of Labor Statistics provided by Triad Barnegat Retail, which was provided previously. On July 16th, I met with the Ocean County, Dave McKeon, Planning, and Dana Lancelotti regarding the EDC. They have since invited me to meet with a state representative, Gerald, if I get the last name right, Scharfingerberger, Executive Director of the Office of Planning Advocacy Support State Title, on August 6, 9:30, here in the courthouse. I would appreciate appropriate representation from the township and/or committee for support, and I appreciate advice on that. Other areas are the status of the business advocate, multiple requests. I've tried to get a letter of introduction from the mayor and the township administrator for the small businesses. I would appreciate a meeting with to review the EDC work recommendations and ensuring the information will be acted upon in a timely manner. After the EDC meeting, a recommendation for investing in a branding company, Spitball or Triad, to the township committee will follow. I'd like to know how this can be discussed and what period we may expect a response for actionable results. Substantial amount of time and resources are placed within the EDC. At this point, the township committee hopefully is in favor of the work and recommendations provided by the committee. Recommendations from any committee should be sent to the township, and I would like them to understand how these documents are acted upon and if any action will be taken by the township. It is important that as the chairman of a township committee that I clearly understand how recommendations are approved by the township committee. Therefore, excluding the TA, what role does the township committee play in understanding and acting upon committee recommendations? The DDC is approved when a CO or TCO is given that a short questionnaire be provided to the business owner for returning as soon as possible to the EDC chairman. The EDC is now requesting direction from the township committee as to how this may be accomplished. And lastly, the EDC meets on the third Thursday at 7:30 in the courthouse, except in August, and the public or anyone is most welcome.
Thank you, Morrison. Thank you again for all your hard work, and continued hard work with the EDC. Anyone else? Okay, motion to close to public, comment? Second?
Second.
All right, now we need to have a motion to open the public hearing on applying for a loan for improvements to Barnegat Boulevard soccer and baseball fields.
We'll move.
Second?
Second.
Any comment from the public? Frank?
Frank Pitchy, 11 Hemlock. The field down on Barnegat Boulevard, you lease it to the Little League down there, I think there's a lease. I recall a number of years ago, when they would try to do some paving and things down there, they had to get approval from DEP. There's something down there, now I hear curbs, if the curbs are going down there, I think you might run into a little problem, because you had a little problem at that time paving with DEP. So I'm not at all sure, and then plus retention, where is that water going to run? So it just doesn't involve, then you have money to put in retention, and you're not spending what you really want to do is fix the fields and put the piping around the protective fencing. So I'm not sure.
Any work done will have to be in accordance with local, county, and state regulations. Since we're requesting financial assistance from the DEP, I'm confident they will make sure we comply with their